All eyes will be on US President Donald Trump and Joe Biden tomorrow when they take to the stage for their first presidential debate. Overnight in England, Rishi Sunak and Sir Keir Starmer went head-to-head in their final televised debate before Brits head to the polls next week. Here's a snippet of two politicians giving, well, vague answers on a topic which has been overshadowing the election campaign, a betting scandal.
If you've acted now on those to withdraw support from those two Conservative candidates, what did you find in that investigation?
Well, Michelle, you know there's an independent investigation which is ongoing, which is why I can't say anything further about that.
You know that none of your other candidates have placed similar bets?
Well, I've made clear to my candidates what the standards are.
Joining us is boss lady and Small Business Women Australia CEO Amanda Rose. Amanda, great to be with you again. Looking at that and politicians all around the world, what's with our leaders? Do we have a leadership crisis?
Yes, we do. I think we've had a leadership crisis for quite some time. And that's because a lot of people want to lead because it's prestigious and there's power and people are power hungry, but no one wants to do what true leadership requires, which is doing the right thing, regardless if people like you or not, and sticking to your values, regardless if people are throwing money in your face. So it'd be really refreshing to have people with good quality character leading a country anywhere.
You know, just looking at that clip and you hear the answer, oh, there's an investigation, I can't comment on that. You know, that's all I heard in 2020 when we had Dan Andrews in power in Melbourne. I can't comment on that, I'll give you a different answer. And it doesn't give the public any faith in our leaders. They're not being transparent.
No, and they get away with it. Let's face it. Who has been brought to justice, right, in relation to anything that happened in COVID or anything before that? There's a whole range of things across the world that have been absolutely horrific and they just don't talk about it. And what's scary is that the independent journalists or anyone that's trying to talk about it, they silence. And that really should be the red flag. Yes, you don't like what leaders say, but when you want to ask questions and call out the hypocrisy or if someone is covering up something and you're genuinely asking it, that person gets silent. That's worrying.
What is giving me faith, though, is that people are expressing what they have to say on platforms such as X, on digital shows, where you can have a lot more freedom to actually say what you think, what you believe, without being shut down. So looking at the leaders around the world, we've got Joe Biden. Great. We have Rishi Sunak. We have Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of Israelis out there are really fed up with his leadership as well at the moment. To prepare ourselves, if things aren't going to change, if there's not going to be a big shift, if we are going to have, say, Joe Biden as a leader of the free world for the next 4 years, what can people do? How can we arm ourselves when we essentially don't have great leaders to follow?
I think it's looking for an alternative. So we've been doing that. So in Australia, it's quite good. America, they did that with Trump originally. He was the alternative. And now he's not, to be honest. But really looking at independence, asking those hard questions, and don't dismiss people on social media or in digital platforms that get labelled conspiracy theorists. You know, it's a word that people use, or right-wing extremists or left-wing, whatever they want to use. Put that aside and actually ask questions and listen, say, do I believe this person anymore? If not, vote another way. Push back in the way that you can, which is going to your local member or, at the polls, vote a different way, support the independents or support an alternative to the person that's currently there.
And get more involved. I like that. Let's talk about RFK, the independent in America, because he's not going to be taking part in this debate tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, interesting how the two major parties, usually in any country, hate each other, but they don't hate each other as much as they hate a third-party threat. And that is what's happening here. So, CNN said that you had to qualify with 4 polls that reached, 15% or above. He actually did reach that, but what they did is they threw out one of the polls for some technicality, which was not legit, purely so he wouldn't be included on the debate. And this here is what people are sick of. This is why when you go online, you'll see so many people supporting him more now purely because of the pushback, just like how people supported Trump when they were pushing back on him. So I don't know if they realise what they're doing, but people are now preferring RFK because they feel that they've been ignored by the rest.
Yeah, maybe it's actually helping his campaign because he is going to be answering some of these questions that are taking place at the debate, and that is going to be streamed online and will be posted on X.
Yes.
So can you imagine maybe tomorrow people
no one's watching the real debate?
Well, yeah, people might be switching off CNN and just going on social media.
That's right. It's not fair, and that's really what people want. So, you know, it's good to have opposing views. It's good to have discussions, but fairness, that has just disappeared, you know, and that power-hungry blocking out someone who's independent, blocking out the community and blocking out the people's choice is a dangerous thing to do.
It's absolutely dangerous because whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's a debate. That's where they debate these.
It's supposed to be democracy.
It's supposed to be democracy. Right. Look, Julian Assange, he has returned home. He's, of course, a controversial figure, but I have a feeling about where you might stand on this issue. What's your assessment of Julian Assange finally being allowed to return home after that plea deal?
Look, I think it's fantastic, right? And I think what it should do is start encouraging discussions and very serious discussions in the community, in the journalist community, but also at schools and universities, because what it's saying is don't be a whistleblower. Don't, you know, let out information that the government doesn't want you to. Yes, there is security concerns with some information. I understand that. But you can't use that as an excuse all the time to silence people. And we see everywhere that if someone sees evil or there's something that is corrupt or something they feel needs to be brought to light, people should be free to be able to do that without being punished. Because if not, then we're saying that the top elite, whether it's politicians or people with money, can get away with what they want.
Get away and can continue to get away with it. It's funny, I saw a post on X earlier today saying it's amazing some of the government figures that are all of a sudden supporting Julian Assange, although they're pretty quick to shut down a lot of debate.
Well, that's exactly right. So this all comes down to, why are you in a position of power? If you're there because you want to do deals and do the wrong thing, we need to clean house. And this should be the beginning of that. We really need to have, I'd love to see independent investigations of every single politician in every single country, and start with Australia, maybe America.
Bring it on.
Absolutely, because what they do is they silence people, they threaten people, and they can't keep using national security as an excuse to shut down someone who's calling out behaviour that is potentially vile.
Amanda Rose, so great to be with you. Thank you for joining us once again on Power Hour.
Thanks.